Welcome everyone, Costin here on Serious Gaming with my playthrough of Starcraft 2 visual novel. Because the game has some, engine that doesn't work with chat to play, I have to start in desktop mode and then I'll tab into the game for it to work. Anyway, Starcraft 2 visual novel based in Wings of Liberty as far as I can tell. This game is free to play, by the way. You can get it on Steam. SC2VN, that's what you type if you want to find it on Steam. You would think you could type, Starcraft 2 visual novel, you'd find it on Steam. You can't. I guess Blizzard gave them permission to make it. They probably demanded that they change, that they use this kind of a name for it. In SC2VN, you select the gender of your main character, Mach. The choice will mostly impact how he or she appears. The story differences are minor. Now select the main character. Both of them look terrible, I might add. But fine, let's go with the nerdy chick. Let's take a shitty player and make them world champion. As a woman in StarCraft 2. And I say as a woman because there's very few female champions in StarCraft. Begin the story? Yep. There's a certain feeling that every StarCraft player gets before they lose. Most try to ignore it at first, as if the inevitable is just another challenge to fight through. Like their past mistakes don't count if they just try a little bit harder. It's a natural thing. To believe otherwise contradicts the hours we spend practicing. Still, every player must eventually come to terms with the defeat. Did they have to queue up for another game, or maybe that they flew across the world for nothing? I haven't met many players that can take a loss in stride. It's painful. It's permanent. It's proof that your best isn't always enough. Long after my elimination, I remain at my PC with a blank look at my eye. Clicks shoot from my fingers as I leap from page to page. A tournament update mentions my defeat in passing, but no one acknowledges it. When my frustration fades, I'm left with only I should have practiced harder. I consider sticking around to watch the final few games, but the knot in my stomach persuades me to avoid any more stress. People are nice enough to a foreigner with a heart to attempt the Star League qualifier. Yes, Star League. Yeah, sure. But without the win, I'm just one more in a long line of losers. Hundreds spend their best years chasing the esports dream. Only 1 in 50 makes it. This is for those who don't. The losers! Oh yeah. The failures of players. Every game of StarCraft begins the same. Gather resources, train a worker, construct a building, rally an army, defend a base, contest a map, turn something small into something more. This game is punishing, it's stressful, it's draining, it builds you up and tears you down. It's not for everyone, it might not even be for me. How many more chances am I going to get? Was that my last? TBT. No, not TBT, my bad, those are Zerglings. Oh, the Baneling rush. I love Banelings. Oh, that feeling. Right. Maybe. Why am I still trying? Why can't I quit? My fist rattles the desk and sends a plastic bottle onto the floor. With my chin in hand, I throw myself into the match replay. Yeah, I don't care about the glossary. I force down a measured breath. Losing a throwaway ladder game shouldn't bother a player of my rank. Scout denial and my poor control of the final fight gave me my opponent edge. In retrospect, my mistakes seem obvious. I toy with the conclusion that he was hacking before realizing that I'm just making excuses. No, I should have been able to win that one. Despite the Grandmaster badge next to my handle, I find myself too anxious to queue up for another game. Wait, you're Grandmaster? What? Seriously? The reason I say that is because, what? I mean, maybe Grandmaster in North America, probably, considering... Let me put it like this. North American players are shit. complete and utter garbage, throwaway players compared to the Korean ladder, just to give you an idea. In fact, North America is one of the weakest ladders in the world compared to Korea and, or, well, Asia in general, and Europe. They're one of the weakest in the world, right? Of the main ladders. So, just a point right there. Being Grandmaster in North America doesn't really mean much in Korea. Anyway. The loss at the Victory Start League qualifier earlier today isn't helping my mindset. I come my tiny room with a look, restless and unmotivated. Sitting alone in a dark room for extended periods of time is incredibly depressing. You don't say, that's what I do for a living. A fact I learned only when it became a significant part of my life. Only one thing is certain, I've got to get out of here. Okay then. After double checking that my apartment door is locked, I hustle down the stairs and onto the sidewalk. Light grows with each step forward towards the shining skyline. So you've rented an apartment. Okay, that seems interesting anyway. And yet you're playing in the bedroom. Catchy pop beats and posters, a flawless model dominate street after street. Foot traffic is thick and impatient. Seoul Tower stands tall from a distant hilltop. But even the lingering excitement of life in a faraway place can't dredge out my hopelessness. Oh, such a drama queen. Sometimes, especially on days like this, I regret pursuing esports. It's a thought I've had more times than I'd care to admit since coming to South Korea. Even saying that, I know that I can't keep myself from competing. It's in my nature, and truth be told, this damn game is the only thing I'm good at. What is Starcraft? Some respond to that with an explanation on its game mechanics or its storyline. There are other popular answers too that requires the dexterity of a pianist alongside the strategic thinking of a chess player. Maybe that's what Starcraft is to most people, but to the hundreds who carve out a living on it, Starcraft isn't such a simple thing. It's the embodiment of competition, perfect playing field, no need for athletic genes, rabid parents, tutoring tutors, or expensive summer camps. You pick up the game on your own, you learn, you improve, you work. If you're good enough, you can become a god. And if you fail, you stay a nobody. True. Very accurate. I'm not building towards a long-term career. I'm friendless in a foreign country. I'm respected by no one. And if I don't fight for the VSL next month, I'll be back home at square one. I'll be nothing. But hey, at least I play video games all day. So do I. And seems like a better choice than yours. And I do stuff on YouTube. Just saying. You want to talk about depressing jobs? Mind you, I love what I do, but bloody hell can it be depressing sometimes. Are you completely sure you haven't forgotten anything? Do you have enough money for the cab when you land? Are you sure that the apartment got your money? Is your cell phone charged? You brought an extra charger, right? Mom, I'm fine. Please, nothing bad is going to happen. Remember, there won't be anyone to do your laundry, cook your meals, or wake you up when you oversleep. Says Dad. Budget well and you'll have 2 months. I won't hear anything about a loan for the flight home. It takes effort to keep a frown from my face. I'm certain that my parents came to see me off so that they could say they did. I've already sunk the entirety of my savings into this, and now isn't the time for second thoughts. Your savings? What do you do for a living? My dad gestures towards the security line and taps his watch twice. Go on, the sooner this is over, the better. Oh, come back in one piece, son. Nothing comes when I think of how to respond, so I only nod. Without another word, my parents walk away. Okay. That expression. She has to make her own mistakes. Oh, interesting. Not sure if this is a mistake. I tighten my fist, pace quickening, even though I want to prove everyone who's doubted me wrong. I'm tired of losing for no one's sake but my own. With a song-long set, overhead signs wash the streets in color. I've wandered so far that the walk back to my apartment would take almost half an hour. My renewed drive to practice my craft drives my search for a place to play. It's not long before I see the words I'm looking for. PC Bang. Okay. So let me understand this right, just to clarify something. She's a young woman, maybe even a teenager anyway. Likely a teenager in point of fact. Well, obviously over the legal age if she's alone, but she's a young woman going to South Korea on her own, no one there to help them, without knowing anyone, to play Starcraft. And her parents let her. Excuse me if this sounds ridiculous. Really. The amount of foot traffic suggests it's a pretty popular internet cafe. A sign on the front window reads Golden Zonefire. Though I've only visited them a few times, PC bangs are one of the things that interest me most about Korea when I first got into Starcraft. And parties, basically. Anyway, or net cafes, whatever. Duking it out for champion status of a neighborhood cafe is old school cool. Like the type of western where a sheriff defends his turf against upstarts and outlaws. It's an ideal that's a little bit dated these days. Most StarCraft 2 competition takes place either online or in broadcast studios. That's because StarCraft 2 has no LAN mode. I'll admit, I've daydreamed of being born a decade early and playing the original esport, Brood War, during its rise alongside the PC Bang. A better time, or so they say online. Yes, so they say online, not necessarily so. I played Warcraft 3, I played Starcraft 2, not consistently. I played the beginning of Wings of Liberty and Diamond League, and then quit, got tired of it, and now I've recently started playing the game. Things have changed, by the way. The game is considerably more difficult. Well, the competition is far more stiff than it used to be back then, as far as I see it, which kind of makes sense. People have gotten used to it more. I trundle up the stairs and pass through the doorway, immediately struck by the size of the place. There has to be at least 80 computers. The crowd is too large for an ordinary evening. There are more people than there are PCs even. I indulge my curiosity on the first person I see, a dark-haired guy observing a match of StarCraft 2 from behind someone's shoulder. Excuse me, is there an event going on? The guy turns and looks at me like I'm speaking something other than Korean. After a brief silence, he responds, "Are you new or something? Have you not heard of All Out Attack?" "Yeah, I'm new, just asking." He hums and glances away for a moment, though he doesn't apologize. He does fill me in. Golden Zonefire hosts a StarCraft 2 tournament called All Out Attack once a month. It's one of the few places you'll find a decent player outside of an online cup or StarCraft league. Used to be a Brood War tournament, actually. I see, thank you. Are you here cheering for someone? He only stares in response. The guy walks away with a shake of his head, mumbling something about foreigners. Korea is a very racist country, by the way. The back of his shirt sports the Korean Pro Gamer Association logo. Maybe he's a Brood War fan or something. None of the StarCraft teams under key PGA regulations compete in anything except the original game, Brood War. Understandably, they don't want to fracture a scene they've worked so hard to build up. Well, Brood War is dead. It was dying the moment Wings of Liberty came out, so this was a doomed failure. And that's lucky for those of us trying to keep from drowning in a game that's already deep with talent. Key PGA players train for unbelievable hours. Well, I came here to practice, and now I'm presented with an excellent chance to do so, if what that guy said is true. A few stairs follow me as I walk forward to put my name on the sign-up list. I must look like a tourist and over my head. I'm definitely not the first foreign to go for esports, but most come to South Korea only once they have results or fame. Which is probably true, since you have fucking neither. Being Grandmaster doesn't give you anything in terms of quote-unquote results. You need to compete in tournaments. After paying for an hour's worth of PC time at the front desk, I settle for a station that has a mouse and keyboard similar to my setup back home. Aren't you lucky? Not that. Though most people on Grandmaster probably have played quite a few tournaments. If they're there, you don't just get in Grandmaster, suffice to say. A few minutes later, I join my opponent's game lobby. just in time for the start of the first round. His name isn't familiar, so I check his profile to see he's ranked mid-rate through Master League. Not bad for a casual player. He seems eager enough by the rate he's spamming go-go in the pre-game chat. The game gets underway once I confirm that I'm ready. Alright, workers, minerals, Vespine gas, and a command center. I start out every match with only these resources at my disposal. It's my job to turn them into something that can defeat my opponent. Generally, that means I need to build structures capable of training units for my army. My build order determines how the end of the matchup plays out. Build order! In what order do you build your units, and at what times? Because yes, the time that you start building a unit is crucial, especially early on. Given the limited resources you start off with. You just started off with 50 minerals, which is enough for one worker. This game I've opted for a quick Hellion attack. Not only will it offer me a chance to deal some damage to my opponent, but it will also allow me to scout. But it seems I don't have much to worry about. My opponent went for a greedy build order, focusing entirely on his economy instead of his army. Unfortunately for him, the match isn't going to last long enough for that risk to pay off. My Hellions make short work of his single queen and handful of Zerglings. You took 2, maybe 3 Hellions and you rushed a Zerg. And that worked. Seriously? I play Terran, by the way, so I'm quite familiar with the Terran tactics, suffice to say. Hellion rushes... Your opponent must actually be pretty incompetent, to be honest, if you're able to pull this off. With his front line out of the way, I'm free to rush into his mineral line and roast his workers, denying him the resources he needs to muster an army. Facing down a marine reinforcements, it's not long before my Zerg opponent types out the 2 letters. Good game. Easy. Like those red messages are there to indicate that there's an expanded, let's say, journal entry on that to explain what the fuck that is. Right. I'm not gonna go over that, because I think it's some of this is pretty obvious. As soon as the victory screen displays, anxiety floods out of my body. Starcraft is tense. It isn't an exaggeration to say that there's never a moment to relax until the match is over. That's actually true. Like, as someone who's played Starcraft on on a reasonable level, let's say a low level anyway. But even then, you get these matches where there's adrenaline pumping through your veins, and it's just very tense, very exciting, all that stuff. They're not relaxing. Very stressful, very fucking stressful, and can lose by a hair's end, so to speak. Bristling with confidence, I get to check up my next opponent, and it's Axel, or Axel, I guess you could say Axel. Yeah, whatever. I'll try. I don't think that's how you... I'll say Axel, even though I'm fairly certain that's how you pronounce it. I draw my lips in a line and let my shoulders slouch. Well, that's the end of this tournament run. Axel is one of South Korea's strongest Terran players. He's well known for his old school cred, balanced playstyle, and friendly banter. He lost it in the round of 8 of last season's VSL. Respectable finish, if not a high-paying one. From what I remember, Axel was a damn good Brood War player, but he was out of his prime when the sequel hit last year, so it makes sense that he switched. Yep, this is certainly Wings of Liberty. While I'm considering what sort of rush I should do to steal a win, I feel a tap on my shoulder and in turn. Huh, so you're a foreigner. And there he is. And find none other than the man himself, standing there. This is a bit surreal considering I followed Axel's play for about as long as I've been into Starcraft. Luckily, his nonchalant manner disarms my surprise. I think we play next round. I'm Mach, a Terran. He misses a beat before regaining his smile, likely surprised that I understood and then answered him. Yeah, I saw you won your game. Not bad. Wait, Mach speaks Korean? Or is that what the conversation is implying? Anyway, foreigners are an uncommon sight to allow to attack. Are you a pro gamer? What team are you on? I don't know if you could call me a pro gamer at this point, and I don't have a team. Trying to find one though. I do my best not to look too hopeful. I think though Axel's expression is hard to read either way, he pauses to scratch his cheek before responding. Well, good luck. Don't expect another easy match. You too. I mean, thanks. Oh god, kill me. At least he laughed. My stress from before is mostly gone. If I lose, big deal. I'm expected to lose. If I win, I beat Axel. I'm still chewing over which cheese I should perform before finally deciding just to play standards. I shouldn't squander the rare chance to practice against the top player. He and I banter back and forth in the pre-game lobby for a bit before the game gets underway. Now, cheese strategies are, you could say, unorthodox strategies, or you could call them scummy strategies. How do you actually, no, you can't see, no. Oh, it's the glossary, my bad. There we go. Now, so here, an unexpected strategy that relies on luck of information to surprise the opponent. Cheese builds typically revolve around an early attack that, if undetected, is more difficult to defend than to execute. Basically, it's you being a dickhead. That's a bit of a perception. I haven't gone up against a player as strong as Axel in a while. There probably wasn't a single person at the VSL qualifier at his level. So let me just make a point here. He's an old school Broodor Terran, plays classic Marine tank style, which actually has fallen strongly out of favor, and is probably about to crush you. Yeah, let me make a point. TVT matches suck. Because at least against people that, against people that are higher than your skill level or people that are on your skill level, TVT matches suck. They drag on for quite a bit because, well, mirror matches there, really. And it does devolve into, I don't know, tanks, force, marines, all that. There's a lot of potential strategies. Suffice to say, it's not fun. Though it's not the worst matchup. The worst matchup for any Terran player, and I'm probably certain most would agree, is against a good Zerg player. Zerg give you a heart attack, suffice to say. They're that fucking annoying. They raise your blood pressure. That only makes a potential victory all the more tantalizing. It's a chance to prove myself I'm good. Anyway. Even if I've decided on playing standard, I've still got the decision to make in how to execute my mid-game strategy. This map is well suited for a Hellion attack. I'll have plenty of room to poke around this expansion since it lacks a choke point. An attack by air might also be a strong option. The distance between our bases is relatively long by land, but it'll take Banshee less than 5 seconds to travel from mine to his. A Banshee assault against a player who is considerably better than you. I'd say you're retarded, but then again, you went to South Korea on your own as a young woman to try and make a name for yourself in terms of esports. So you are retarded. I'm confident to both styles, it's just a matter of how I want to execute the attack. May I inquire as to the fucking elephant in the room as to why it's not there? Reapers. No, seriously, Reapers in Wings of Liberty were really powerful, at least early on. Then they nerfed them. Then they nerfed them again. Then they nerfed them to the fucking ground. But Reapers were a very powerful unit for a long time. Why would the fuck would you go Hellions? Just my stance. I'd certainly go Reapers. But, I'm thinking more in terms of how the ladder is right now, where Hellions just aren't what... I mean, they're useful as... they're certainly still useful, but just not what they were before. Reapers are more useful at the moment, even though they lost their base damage, the structure attacks, right? I would try Reapers harass personally, that's what I'd do, but whatever. Banshees or Hellions. You're gonna lose anyway. Just gonna make a point. You can actually save mid-match and you can try out different strategies. I actually checked out the game before I started playthrough. Regardless of what you do, you're going to lose. So, hit and run with Hellions. I produce my Hellions 2 at a time and spend my send my first 4 across the map. Wait, you waited until you had 4, okay. Well, that's because of the distance, I guess. It takes a few extra seconds to clear out the space between our bases. Confident I have enough breathing room, I prepare for my first attack. My Hellions make a beeline for his natural expansions worker. With some decent macro on my part, I managed to secure a few worker kills before... No, sorry, it's micro, before ordering a retreat. Micro is controlling individual units or controlling your army. Macro is controlling your overall base and army. That's what that means. Overall movement there. Build orders, all that. A lesser player might have sacrificed 4 Hellions for more economic damage, but I've practiced the style enough to know that I'll lose the map control without them. True, they probably could have sacrificed at least one of them. This game is going insanely well, is it? Though Axel took his expansion before I did, the damage he took puts us on even footing. I follow up with an army of marines, marauders, and dropships. The bread and butter of most Terran players. The M-Ball, as it's called. Since I cleared the space between our bases, he's in the dark about the timing of this next attack. There's a solid chance that I could do enough damage here to end the game. But just as I arrive at the outskirts of Axel's expansion, one of his dropships unloads a handful of marines. By the way, I'm not sure why the in-game images have these black bars anyway. That's going to slow down my ability to reinforce. Whoa, shit. With my focus on dropping my main, Axel rushed into the army and left outside of his base while I wasn't paying attention. He's got the concave formation on me. Are you sure you're Grandmaster? Cause I've seen people in Gold League, like let alone Platinum, Diamond, that could actually handle this better. What? So you got distracted by a drop on your base? Okay, never mind. It's best not to think too much about this. It's like that, an advantage evaporates. Do I manage to stay in the game for a bit longer? Axel wisely guards his lead by immediately taking a third base. Soon enough, his economic advantage is reflected in the size of his army. After my blunder, Axel's play was airtight. There really wasn't anything for me to do. With a groan, I offer a GG and concede the match. I didn't exactly throw my lead, but I did get seriously outplayed. You don't say. Fantasizing about how a victory would have felt doesn't help me keeping my mind off the loss. I thought you said it was not gonna be a big deal. Knowing that I did my best only helps so much. But not a moment later, Axel turns the corner with a smile and raised eyebrows. Hey, good game. You're actually not bad. I assumed you were here for fun or something. Thanks. I'm here for fun though. You play really well. I'm surprised. Most foreigners don't hit timings like that. Good vision control too, and your scouting was top notch. You're really not on a team, and you're at least staying. Are you at least staying at the team house? Oh, are you studying abroad? Nothing like that. I'm staying by myself in an apartment by VSL Studios. So you came to Korea alone and on your own dime, and you're not just visiting. Even he calls it retarded, but yes, I do my best not to seem awkward about my answer, but my reason to worry disappear when Axel smiles. It takes some serious guts to move out to here like that. I can't think of a single person who's made it on here on their own. A few nearby competitors watch our conversation. It's probably not often that Axel gives his attention to a random nobody he crushes early in the bracket. I've got some time before my next game. Let me introduce you to a friend of mine. Oh, sure. With a nod, Axel leads me from the PC area to the back of the cafe. We pass a number of known players on the way there, most lounging around no differently than the cafe's other patrons. Maybe they aren't that different. I guess even professionals like to kick back with the tangle of chords and rush of caffeine every now and then. Games shouldn't just be all business all the time, although I'd bet that key PGA executives disagree. Axel comes to a stop away from the constant tapping of keyboards. He then plops himself into a seat against the wall and invites me to join him with a wave of his hand. As I take my seat, I look up to find someone I recognize at his side. Jet, a Zerg and former VSL champion. Wait. Okay. Who would she be? Is she based off a real person? I mean, the number of women that play Starcraft and actually get champion status is very fucking small. And I know that they base some of this, at least, based on real people. Anyway. She won Starcraft 2's very first grand final back in the beta. Ah, I see. A year ago, she might have been the game's most famous player. Her flippant and inflammatory antics have made her a somewhat controversial figure. She rarely GGs and isn't afraid to talk trash on stage. And there she is, just sitting there. It's all I can do not to stare. So who the fuck is she based on? The smile plays on her lips when she glances past me to Axel. Axel, seriously, stop processing my autograph as a reward for being hilarious. She can understand you, by the way. Who are you up against the next round? Some Zerg dishwasher on LHT / I hate Zerg v Zerg. Jet rolls her eyes back to me. After a brief appraisal, she lifts her chin and speaks a single word. Name? What? Oh, I'm Mach, a Terran. I'm teamless. Jet shifts her gaze back to Axel as if to ask, why did you bring this knob back here? But before she can actually say anything, Axel comes to my defense with an easy smile. Hey, cool with the judgment until you've seen her play. Plus, you ever hear of a foreigner that came out here alone just for Starcraft? My girl right here did. You have to admit that's brave. If that endorsement wasn't convincing enough, he offers one of his classic grins for good measure. The response seems to satisfy her, for now. While I try to keep from showing anything to contradict Axel's assessment, Jet aims her attention back to me. Didn't see your name on the list of people who made it past the VSL qualifier. How do you place? I lost my second to the last match. The qualifier before that, I dropped out on the final game of the last series. 2 attempts on making it, huh? Hard to tell much from that. Mainly depends on the bracket you had. How do you live out here with no team? Do you stream or something? I used to stream, but well, I don't anymore. Just raises her eyebrow, waiting for me to elaborate until I look away. Without missing a beat, she moves on to the next question. So your parents pay for everything? No, I'm here on my summer job earnings and a little bit extra from my grandparents. How lucky. I never got any handouts. This isn't going very well. Still, Axel looks as collected as ever, watching with a smile as the interrogation continues. Did you play Brood War? Not really. I mean, I had the cat as a kid, but I wasn't good. Had to cheat to even finish the campaign. Oh, then you were only a little bit worse than Jet. Jet scowls silently at the jab. It's true that 2 years she spent playing Brood War were mostly unremarkable. Then this is your first try at professional gaming? When I nod, she gives me a hard look. Why are you out here? What do you mean? I'm sure you're aware of your chances. It's been more than 5 years since a foreign pro gamer accomplished anything noteworthy in Korea. I know what she's getting at, but it's not like I have a particular great or unique answer. I scratch behind my head and look away. I mean, why else? I want to become better at Starcraft. Everyone knows that Korea is the place to do that. And why is that? Well, because the best players are out here, and I've also studied. Anyway. No, I'm asking why you want to become better. I kind of skipped that one by accidentally pressing my mouse button. Oh, it was like she's forcibly extracting the truth from me. All the same, I can't leave her expression. Question and answer. I do my best to avoid showing the embarrassment I feel in my honest response because I want to be a champion, or at least show I can compete at that level. Everyone who plays this game wants that, don't they? You're right about one thing. Every idiot that makes it to Grandmaster and takes a map off a good player thinks they're a pro gamer material. A champion, huh? Shh. She clicks her tongue and sighs, but that doesn't seem displeased, at least any more so than usual. I wouldn't have much ground to stand up if I disagreed with her. Jet is one of the few who has accomplished what the rest of us dream about. Don't be so harsh. Her style is solid and she stood toe-to-toe with me for a while. With enough time, she could compete. What do you think? Why don't you practice with her for a bit? I could. Let her harm in giving her a chance. Wait, back up. What just happened? Did he just say practice and she said yes? Axel answers her with a pleased expression. Jet takes a moment to stretch out before again crossing her arms across her chest. Alright then, let's... Yep. Something is wrong with this game. Anyway. I think I'm gonna pause it right here. Yeah, or not. Stop staring and say something, Mach. I'll say something later. Costin, signing out.